Are you prepared for an emergency? This question is more important than you might think. Emergencies can strike at any time, often without warning, and their impact can be far-reaching. They can cause power outages, storms, and other unforeseen events that disrupt our daily lives in significant ways. Imagine this. It's a typical Tuesday evening. You're at home, maybe cooking dinner or helping the kids with their homework. Suddenly the lights flicker and go out. It's a power outage. What do? If you're not prepared, you might find yourself in a tough spot. You might not have a backup source of light or a way to keep your food from spoiling. And that's just one example. Or consider this. A storm is brewing. It's predicted to be a big one, and it could potentially cause flooding in your area. Without the necessary preparations, your home could be at risk. You might not have sandbags or a sump pump to prevent water from seeping in. You might not have a safe place to stay if your home becomes uninhabitable. And it's not just about natural disasters. What about other unforeseen events? What if there's a sudden health crisis in your family? Or an unexpected financial hardship? Being prepared for these scenarios can make all the difference when it comes to navigating them successfully. The potential risks and dangers of being unprepared are real. But the good news is, with the right tools and knowledge, you can take steps to ensure that you and your family are ready to face any emergency that comes your way. Being prepared doesn't just mean having supplies on hand, although that's certainly a part of it. It's about having a plan, knowing what to do when disaster strikes, and being able to keep your family safe and secure. So it's clear that being prepared isn't just about you, it's about ensuring the safety of your entire family. So, what do we need to survive an emergency? A question that can have many answers, but let's focus on the essentials. First up, food and water storage. It's not just about having a pantry full of canned goods or a fridge stacked with bottled water. We're talking long-term, shelf-stable, and nutritionally balanced food items like freeze-dried meals, energy bars, and dry grains. A good rule of thumb is to have enough food and water to last each person in your household for at least 3 days. Next, we have the first aid kit. This isn't your run-of-the-mill Band-Aid box. An emergency first aid kit should include items to treat serious injuries, such as gauze, medical tape, antiseptic wipes, and a variety of bandages. It's also crucial to have tools like scissors and tweezers, and don't forget medications, both prescription and over-the-counter, like pain relievers and antihistamines. Moving on to communication. In our digital age, we might take for granted being able to call for help or check in with loved ones. But in an emergency, cell service might not be available. That's where a satellite phone comes in. They use a network of satellites, not cell towers, making them a reliable communication method when all else fails. Of course, let's not forget about light. Flashlights and extra batteries are a must. Whether navigating a dark house during a power outage or signaling for help, a reliable source of light is indispensable. Lastly, we have necessary tools. This can include a multi-tool, a manual can opener, a fire starter, and a good old-fashioned map. These items can prove invaluable when you're dealing with power outages, stranded situations, or when you just need to open that can of beans for dinner. Each of these items plays a unique role in survival during an emergency. They're not just nice to have, they're essential. By preparing in advance, you're not only securing your physical needs, but also bringing peace of mind to yourself and your family. Having these items at hand can mean the difference between a manageable situation and a potential disaster. But how do we properly store food and water for an emergency? That's the question on our minds today. A well-stocked food and water storage can be a game changer in times of crisis, but it requires a bit of planning and know-how. When it comes to food, we're looking for items that have a long shelf life and require little to no cooking. Think canned goods, dried fruits, nuts, and grains. These are foods that can last for years when stored properly. Sealed, unopened canned goods can last up to 5 years, while grains like rice and oats can last up to 30 years when stored in airtight containers. Don't forget about comfort foods too. Chocolate, coffee, or your favorite snack can be a morale booster in stressful situations. Now on to water. The general rule is 1 gallon of water per person per day. So, for a family of 4, that's 4 gallons a day. In a week, you'll need 28 gallons. That may sound like a lot, but remember, this isn't just for drinking. You'll also need water for cooking, cleaning, and hygiene. Storing water can be as simple as purchasing bottled water and keeping it in a cool, dark place. But if you're looking to store larger quantities, consider investing in a food-grade water storage container. These containers are designed to keep your water safe and fresh for a long time. Now here's a crucial point. Rotation. Even the best stored food and water have an expiration date. So, it's essential to regularly check your supplies and replace anything that's nearing its use-by date. This way, you'll always have fresh, safe food and water on hand. Creating a food and water storage can seem daunting, but remember, it's all about being prepared for the unforeseen. Start small, gradually build up your supplies, and before you know it, you'll have a robust food and water storage that can sustain your family in an emergency. Remember, your food and water storage can be a lifeline in an emergency. So let's be wise, be prepared, and stay safe. A first aid kit is crucial for any emergency, but what should it contain? Let's dive right in. A comprehensive first aid kit is a collection of supplies and equipment for use in giving first aid. At the heart of it, we have bandages. Bandages come in various sizes and types, from adhesive bandages for small cuts, to larger ones for bigger wounds, and even triangular bandages that can be used as a sling for broken bones. They are the first line of defense against infection by protecting the wound from dirt and bacteria. Next up, we have antiseptic wipes. These little heroes are used for cleaning the area around wounds to prevent infection. They're like the cleaning crew that preps the site before the bandages come in. Tweezers are another important tool in your first aid kit. They're like the surgeons of our little medical team, used for removing splinters, shards of glass, or anything else that doesn't belong in your skin. Don't forget about medical tape. This is the glue that holds everything together, literally. It's used to secure dressings or bandages and keep wounds covered and clean. Now let's talk about pain relievers. Over-the-counter options like ibuprofen or acetaminophen can help manage pain and reduce fever. Remember though, these are temporary solutions, and you should seek medical help for serious injuries. Also, it's a good idea to include a first aid manual. Even if you're familiar with first aid procedures, in the heat of the moment, it's easy to forget. A manual serves as a handy reference guide to ensure you're providing the best care possible. Lastly, consider including other items like a digital thermometer, a pair of medical gloves, a breathing barrier for CPR, and emergency contact numbers. Each of these items plays a crucial role in a comprehensive first aid kit. They work together to treat injuries, alleviate pain, and prevent minor issues from escalating into major problems. A well-stocked first aid kit can treat minor injuries and prevent them from becoming major ones. So remember, being prepared is not just about having the right tools, but knowing how to use them effectively. In the midst of an emergency, communication is key, but how can we ensure we stay connected? Well, let's delve a little deeper into that. Communication during an emergency is not just about staying in touch with our loved ones. It's also about receiving crucial updates and instructions from emergency services. In a situation where regular cellular service may be disrupted, having a reliable communication device becomes a matter of paramount importance. This is where a satellite phone comes into play. A satellite phone is a type of mobile phone that connects directly to satellites orbiting Earth, rather than terrestrial cell sites. This allows it to provide coverage virtually anywhere on the planet, including remote areas where regular cell service is unavailable or disrupted. You may be thinking, surely that sounds too high-tech and probably too expensive for me. But consider this. In times of crisis, the ability to communicate can be a lifeline. It can provide you with timely information to help you make informed decisions, and it can be a beacon of hope when you need to reach out for help. Now, how does a satellite phone work, you ask? It's quite simple, really. When you make a call, the phone sends a signal up to the closest satellite. The satellite then sends that signal back down to a ground station, which routes the call to its destination. It's like playing a high-stakes game of cosmic ping-pong with your message as the ball. And let's not forget about text messages and emails. Most satellite phones can send and receive texts and emails, in addition to voice calls. This can be incredibly useful in situations where voice communication might be difficult or impossible. So, is a satellite phone a worthy investment? Absolutely. In a world where we are increasingly dependent on technology, having a reliable means of communication during emergencies is crucial. It's not just about convenience, it's about safety, security, and peace of mind. Staying connected during an emergency can provide vital information and bring much-needed peace of mind. And that, dear listeners, is the power of communication in times of crisis. So, we've covered a lot about emergency preparedness today. Let's take a moment to reflect and summarize the key points we've learned. First, we emphasize the importance of preparedness. It's not about living in fear or anticipating the worst, but rather about being equipped to handle unexpected situations. From power outages to storms, emergencies can happen at any time, and having a plan in place can make all the difference. Next, we identified the essential items needed during emergencies. These include necessities such as food, water, first aid supplies, and a reliable means of communication. Remember, it's not just about stocking up, but also about ensuring these items are easily accessible and kept in a safe, secure place. Our third point focused on creating a food and water storage. This isn't just about hoarding cans and bottles, it's about carefully planning and rotating your stock to ensure freshness, and considering dietary needs and preferences to maintain morale during tough times. Then we discussed assembling a first aid kit. It's more than just band-aids and antiseptic. A good first aid kit is comprehensive, catering to a range of minor and major medical situations. It should include items such as bandages, tweezers, pain relievers, and prescription medications if necessary. Finally, we examined the role of communication during emergencies. Having a satellite phone or other reliable means of communication can be a lifeline in crisis situations. It's not just about calling for help, but also about staying informed and connected with the outside world. In conclusion, preparedness is a multifaceted endeavor that involves planning, gathering supplies, and staying informed. It's about being ready to face whatever life throws at us with confidence and resilience. Remember, preparation is not about predicting the future but being ready for whatever it may bring. Stay safe and stay prepared.